Good morning students, this is Joy Varghese from Uncovering Chemistry. Today we are going to start with a new chapter. When we say here, you can see on the board, Unit 7, P block elements. Clear? This will be video number 1. In that we will discuss little bit about introduction. Now in standard 11 you must have studied about two groups, that is 13 and 14. In this chapter we are going to study about the remaining groups. Now why remaining groups, that we will see first. Now what are P block elements? So it is simple that if the last electron, what is the word? Last electron enters P orbital, it is called P block element. Understood? Now when we talk about this P block, S block and all, you must have studied about shells. Shells we have seen K, L, M, N shells we have studied, what we say, right? Now the subshells, when we say, the subshells are what we call it as S, P, D and F. Understood? Now in this case when we say S orbitals, there are possibility of maximum 2 electrons can accommodate in one orbital. In P block, when we say total 6 electrons can come. How many electrons? 6. When we talk about D orbital, there are total 10 electrons. How many electrons? What we say? 10 electrons can accommodate. Now opposite spin, now this all you have studied in what we call it as 11th standard. Now then F block elements total 14. How many? 14. Clear? 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 12, 13 and 14. Means if you see in this case, there is only one orbital, maximum 2 electrons. Here 3 orbital, maximum 6 electrons can accommodate. Here total 10 electrons can accommodate, and here you will see 14 electrons can accommodate. So if you see 2 plus 4 6, 6 plus 4 10 and 10 plus 4 14, like this. Understood? Now when we talk about this P orbital, total maximum 6 electrons can accommodate. So there are 6 groups in these elements, what we P block elements. 6 groups are there. Which are there? Group 13, group 14, group 15, group 16 and group 17, right? So you can remember like this also, maximum 6 electrons can accommodate in this group. So that's why there are 6 groups. Now out of these 6 groups, we have already studied about these 2 groups in 11th standard. Which standard? 11th standard or 11 group, what we say. So there we have studied these 2 groups, what we say, in 11. Now in 12th we are going to study about the remaining group, that is group 15, 16, 17 and one more is there, the 6th group, that is group 18. Understood? Now this is all about what we say. Now you must be knowing about this what we call it as how to accommodate electron according to the Aufbau principle and all what we have studied. Okay, so now in this case when we say, suppose you must have studied about Aufbau principle. Now we will just recapitulate or revise what we say. That is, if the last electron enters P orbital, it is called P block elements, and we know shells means K, L, M, N, subshells are S, P, D and F. And if you see here, in S orbital maximum, how many electrons? 2 electron. P orbital 6 and D orbital 10 and F orbital 14 electrons can accommodate. As 6 electrons can accommodate, the capacity of P orbital is 6 electron. We will study about 6 groups in this, what we say. Understood? So this is all about what we have studied till now. Now in this chapter, first of all, when we say the P block elements, right? So in this we are going to study first of all group 15 we will start with, group 15. Now to remember the general configuration, what is the word? General or configuration. Configuration of this group 15. So always remember one technique is there, 15 minus 10. So total how many? 5 electrons are left out, what we say. So that you can accommodate as NS2 and NP3 like this. So last 3 electrons will be there in the P orbitals, what we say, NS2, NP3, what we say. Now in this case when we say the general configuration is NS, That is minimum 1 and maximum 2 electrons. Understood? And when we talk about in this case p orbital, total minimum 1 or maximum 6 electron, that is 1 to 2 and np 1 to 6. Don't read 1 minus 2 or 1 minus 6. Understood? So maximum in s orbital 2 electrons can accommodate, and p orbitals we can say how many? Total maximum 6 electron, minimum 1, what we say. Understood? So this is the general configuration, and when we talk about group 15 element, it is this, what is say, ns2 and np3. Okay, so first of all now we will study about which elements are there in group 15, and then we will study about the related, what we call it as chemical properties are there, physical properties are there, that all we are going to study next. Okay, just a minute. Okay, now when we talk about group 15 elements, you can see these are the elements in group 15, that is in a group, when we say that is from top to bottom, right? So N is a symbol for nitrogen, P is the symbol for phosphorus, as AS, that is arsenic, is a symbol, that AS is a symbol for what you call it as arsenic, SB, that is for antimony, Bi bismuth, and MC, that is moscovium, what we call. Now this moscovium, when we say, no, it's a radioactive element, right? It's a typical metal. These two are typical metal, but when we say this one is a radioactive, this is a radioactive element. Understood? So this will be studying later in this unit. Then when we talk about nitrogen, nitrogen and phosphorus are non-metal. Nitrogen and phosphorus are non-metals. Clear? Non-metal. When we talk about arsenic and antimony, now you must have studied about, there is a zigzag line you must have heard about, right? If you remember metalloids and all like this, if you heard about. So you can see here, you can see arsenic and what we call it as antimony are metalloids. What are metalloids? What we have studied, they have some properties of metal and some properties of non-metal. That's why they are called metalloids, what we say. Understood? So these are the elements. But in this case, we are going to study only about this 5 elements what we are talking about, that is nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony and bismuth. This comes in radioactive, that we'll discuss later on. Here these two are non-metals, what we call it as nitrogen gas, you must have studied about diatomic form, phosphorus you have seen, allotropes are there, then arsenic is there, and antimony are metalloids, means some properties of metal and some properties of non-metal. Understood? So now in your textbook, if you see the first paragraph, there is one line given, that is when we go from top to bottom. So there is a shift of non-metallic to metallic properties, because if you see this is a non-metal, down you see this is a typical metal. So metallic property, non-metal to metallic property, it shifts when we go down the group. Understood? So this is all about what we say group 15 elements. Now according to your syllabus, latest syllabus, what is given by the board, it is given that occurrence, when we say 7.1 topic, occurrence part is not there in your what we call it as a board exam. Right? So now questions will be asked from the occurrence part, but the remaining physical properties what we are talking about, that is there, what we say. Okay, so 7.1.1 is not there, but you can read it by yourself because it gives you a nice knowledge. So where are these all elements are found in our body or in the environment or whichever place we get it from. Okay, so that all things are there. You can see one nice example is given. Phosphorus is an essential, one topic is given, constituent of animal plants, a matter, and it is present in the bones, what we say. If you heard about, in our bones calcium phosphate is there. Understood? So that occurrence, many things are given, you go through it, it is nice and what you call very informative, what we say. Understood? So go through that. Now the next topic I am going to discuss is about electronic configuration. What I am going to discuss about electronic configuration. Now already if you see, we have discussed that electronic configuration of group 15 element is what? NS2NP3. Understood? What is the word? NS2NP3. So now suppose if I want to write the configuration, we know nitrogen atomic number is 7, what we say. What is that? Z, if you heard about, atomic number is 7. So if you write, it will be according to Aufbau principle, 1s2, 2s2, then 2p, if you have heard about. Or if you don't know, Aufbau principle will write like this: 1s, then 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 3d will come here, then 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. Understood this part? Then another 5s, 5p, 5d and 5f, then 6s, 6p, 6f, 7s and 7p. Like this, the triangle will be there. You can remember like this. Understood? And f orbital starts from fourth shell, what we call it as. This shows the shell. Period, when we say 7 periods are there, so this is n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, principal quantum number you must have studied or you will study. N is equal to 5, n is equal to 6 and n is equal to 7. So 7 periods like this, what we say. Understood? Now when we talk about this part here, configuration, when we say we have to start like this, means start filling from the lower energy states, what we say. So here you can see like this. Okay, this way the filling will be there. Understood? So now suppose if I want to nitrogen, we know nitrogen atomic number is 7. So from in s orbital, so 1s will be there. So 1s2, maximum 2 electron. Then what is there? 2s. So in s orbital maximum, s orbital 2 electrons can accommodate. P orbital maximum 6 electrons. What is the word? Maximum 6 electrons. I think you can see that. Okay. Then d orbital maximum 10 electrons can be accommodated, and f orbital maximum 14 electrons can be accommodated, right? Okay. So 1s2, then comes 2p. Now when we talk about 2p, p orbitals, when we say here, yeah, you have 3 p orbitals, what we say like this. Understood? Just a minute. Okay, so we have this 3. So in this case, how many are remaining? 4 are already accommodated in this 2 orbital of s, what we say. So remaining is still 3 are there. So first you have to fill it with a half spin. That is a rule what you have studied in 11th standard. There is a rule. You have to fill like this. So maximum how many electrons can accommodate according to the atomic number? 3. So if you see here, that is ns2, np, 3. Same way here 2s2 and 2p3. And for the, when we write configuration, this we write for helium like this. Understood? This we write for helium. So in your book you can see one tabular form is given on page number, for this configuration you can see the tabular form on page number 171. NCERT textbook, page 171, a tabular form is given in which this configuration is given, what we say. Understood? So go through this configuration, what we say, and the remaining for phosphorus is also given. You can see that you can use this Aufbau principle for filling the orbitals and all. Total, what we say, 6 elements are there in this group 15: nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth and moscovium, what we say. But moscovium is radioactive, so we will be studying about this 5 only, in which the first 2 are non-metal and remaining 2 metalloids, and this bismuth is a typical metal. Okay, so this is all about what we say the introductory part and electronic configuration. Now atomic radius, when we say down the group, down the group, we know as we go down the group what will happen to atomic radius? Atomic radius, right? So down the group, when we say, this comes in period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4 and period 5. So period 1 when we say, or period 2, whatever you say here. Okay, so in that case, here it is 2, what we say, n is equal to 2. So here down the group, suppose 2 means 2 shells will be there. Down another will go, then it will become 3 shells, KLMN. Down we go, then one more shell will increase. And what will happen down the group? When we go in the group, down the group, the shells keep on increasing. The atomic radius will also increase, what we say. Understood this part? Now the next part is given ionization enthalpy. So that we are going to discuss next. Okay. Now when we talk about ionization enthalpy. That is ionization enthalpy. That is the energy required to remove an electron from its outermost shell, right? So when we see, suppose when we say the first one, that is nitrogen, we know 2 shells are there. Then when we talk about phosphorus, 3 are there. So when we say the last electron, first this electron will be removed, then the inner electrons and then the inner electron. So the first electron what we remove, that ionization enthalpy we can call it as delta I H1, what we say. Understood? And if you remove from the inner part, that will be delta I H2. From furthermore inner part you will remove the electron, it will delta I H3. Means the outermost electron, if you want to remove and change it into an ion, it is very easier. Why? Because the distance of the outermost electron to the innermost nucleus is what? Least, what we say, maximum. Understood? And when you go nearer, the distance keep on what we call it as decreasing. Means the pull, or what we call it as the attraction of proton and electron will be maximum when the electron is nearer. And when the electron goes far away from the nucleus, the attraction will be less. So what will happen in that case? That is, it will be easier to remove the outermost electron, but when we talk about the inner electrons, it will require more energy. So when we talk about this ionization enthalpy, delta I H1, what we say is always less than delta I H2 less than delta I H3. Means the innermost electron, what we say, which is nearer to the nucleus, to remove that electron maximum energy is required. Understood? So we can also say it in a simple word, the energy required to change an electron into an ion is called it as an ionization enthalpy, what we say. Understood or not? So in this case, when we talk about metals, so metals have tendency to lose electron, non-metals have tendency to gain electron. Understood or not? And so this is the topic. I think ionization enthalpy you understood. Always remember this order, that first ionization enthalpy will be less than second and less than third. It is easy to remove an electron from the outermost orbit, and when we go down the group, you will see that the number of shells keep on what? Number of shells keeps on increasing, so the electron will be more, that electron will have more distance, that is the last electron and the nucleus proton, the distance increases, the attraction keeps on decreasing. So when we say down the group ionization enthalpy increase or decrease, so obviously the ionization enthalpy will decrease down the group. Okay, this you can write it down and keep, down the group ionization enthalpy decreases. Okay. Then the next topic what is given in your book is about electronegativity. What is the next topic? What we say here is electronegativity. Okay. Now next topic is electronegativity. Clear? Now what is electronegativity? So it is a tendency to pull, it is a tendency to pull an electron pair towards itself. Clear? So this you can remember in a very simple way, that is tendency to pull an electron pair towards itself is called electronegativity, what we say. Understood? So when we say non-metals have a higher property of pulling an electron because they are electron negative in nature, what we say. Understood? Loss of electron is easy. Okay, so not loss of electron, gain of electron is easy in non-metals. Now when we talk about metals, metals have tendency to lose electron, like sodium, if you say Na plus is there, oxygen when we say 2 minus is there. Okay, now this here we are talking about electronegativity. So in your book you can just see on page number 170 it is written, electronegativity value in general decreases down the group with increasing atomic size. Means electronegativity decreases down the group. Electronegativity decreases down the group with what is given? With increase in atomic size. Now what is the reason for that? When we go down the group, the shells keep on increasing. So what will happen? The distance between, that is loss of electron, will be easier. But what is electronegativity? It is a attraction of electron, means pulling towards itself. So if the shell increases, loss of electron is easier, means metallic property will be more. Then but we know that nitrogen is what? Non-metal, and first two, nitrogen, phosphorus, are non-metal, so their tendency to pull an electron will what? Will be more. But when we go down the group, the metallic property changes into what? Non-metallic property changes into metallic property, that is bismuth, what we have seen. Understood? So down the group when you see, the metallic property increases and non-metallic property decreases. So the loss of electron or the pull of electron will keep on decreasing. Loss of electron will increase and pull of electron will decrease, because down the group properties changes into metallic type, what we say. Okay, so in your book it is given. However, amongst the heavier elements, the difference is not that much pronounced. Heavier means down the group, when we say the elements keep on becoming heavier, what we say. So I think this topic is clear to you, what we say. We have studied about two things: ionization enthalpy, electronegativity. So first, if you see nitrogen and phosphorus are non-metal, clear. Then arsenic and antimony, arsenic and antimony are metalloids, clear. And bismuth, what we say, was a typical metal, right? So in this case, non-metals have tendency to gain electrons, right? Metals, when we say, have tendency to lose electron. Understood? So when we see, if you see, gaining electron property is more on the top, and when we go down, that keeps on decreasing gradually. Understood? This way also you can remember what we say. Okay, so this is all about what we call it as physical properties. In the next video we'll be discussing about the chemical properties. Okay, so till then, go through this topic in your textbook carefully, read it thoroughly, and then we will discuss the next part. Okay, thank you very much.